I'm not gonna do it. I'm just not going to. I'm done with it. I'm finished. Yep. It's gonna be one of those.
Say what again? Say what again? Say what again? Motherfucker, say what again?
What's going on, Toller team? And long time no see, eh? I'm gonna get right into this. No bullshit. But I want to thank you guys so much for supporting the channel. All the likes, the comments. I even see people sharing my stuff on Facebook. I really do appreciate that because I wasn't expecting, I'm still a small creator, but I wasn't expecting to have, 350 subscribers this early on. So I really want to appreciate you guys. And then on top of that, if you're new, do the thing I was just talking about. Hook me up. Hook me up with a like. Maybe drop a comment down below of what your favorite superhero film is. And if you want to hear me talk some more shit, subscribe. Oh, and speaking of shit,
my dog stepped on a bee.
I just checked out Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. Let's get into this. Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, which I'm going to be calling Aquaman 2 from this point forward, is a 2023 comic book action film directed by the legendary James Wan and stars Jason Momoa, Patrick Wilson, the guy that plays Black Mantis, because there's no way in hell I'm pronouncing his name right, and yes, Amber Heard. I'm going to go ahead and get this out of the way. Yes, Amber Heard is in this film. You can tell that her scenes, a lot of them have been cut, but she actually plays a lot bigger of a part than I thought she was going to. And she shouldn't have. Fuck Amber Heard. I'll say that on YouTube. Fuck Amber Heard. She should have lost her job just like Johnny lost his. But you know the old equality scale, right? It only leans in one direction.
He's out of line, but he's right.
Anyway, Aquaman 2 picks up after the events of the first film, where the king of Atlantis, who's now a husband and father, faces off against his arch nemesis, Black Mantis, who's actually fueled by an ancient evil. By now, you've seen this plot before. Like, you've seen this movie before. And we'll get into that a little bit later, but I'm just letting you know now, it's nothing new at all. For my first positive, I've got to call out the man who did so much with so little, and that's James Wan. The $1 billion box office the first film brought in can largely be attributed to the direction and stylistic choices of Wan, and some of that leaks over into Aquaman 2. There's quite a few scenes in Aquaman 2 that have James Wan written all over it. Everything from the design of the Lost Kingdom, design of their king, design of the citizens, and even quite a few portions where Black Mantis is employed in like this horror type of way. No spoilers, but there is a particular scene where it's just pitch black, it's dark, and then you see Black Mantis's eyes just come up, right? It acts as kind of this pseudo jump scare, I guess you could say. And it when I first saw it, it had me going. The fight scenes weren't too terrible either. Granted, there's a lot of terrible CGI in this film, but the fight scenes were choreographed pretty well. I liked the way that James Wan framed everything. And so with my first positive, I've got to give the guy the salute. I've got to give it to him, because with all the studio intervention, all the rewrites and all the reshoots, he still managed to put something that was somewhat competent up there on the screen, but most importantly, he definitely left his stamp on it. My second positive, just barely a positive, was the comedy. I'm going to tear the writing a new asshole here shortly, but I'd be lying if I said Aquaman 2 was bland and unfunny, because it's not. It did get some genuine laughs out of me. One thing that I really enjoyed was the dynamic and chemistry between Jason Momoa and Patrick Wilson. They have this weird, distant, brotherly love kind of thing, which obviously in the film they are brothers, but what I'm trying to say is they sell it very, very well. One of the running jokes, gags, or I guess lines throughout the film is that Aquaman is trying to tell Ocean Master what it's like to be a land dweller, and so he's recommending certain things to him. He's telling him to do certain things just to try to understand where the land dwellers come from. And the funny thing about that is that there is a joke somewhere in the film, and then it comes full circle in the mid-credit scene, which there is a mid-credit scene. It's nothing really important, but like I said, there's a joke that comes full circle that I thought was pretty damn good. So just know that if you see a joke, it's going to make a comeback at the end of the film. Try to figure out which joke it is. That's actually as far as my positives go, because man, this is a shit show.
My dog stepped on a bee.
The CGI is god awful.
Hey, bro, come on now, dog. Come on, man.
I still can't get over how good Godzilla Minus One looks. It was only $15 million, yet this $200 million monstrosity looks like a bag of ass. The film does a decent job of having some shock and awe because things are very bright and very colorful, just like they were in the first film. But as you get closer to things, you can just see how underdeveloped they are. And something that wasn't very consistent was how they did the underwater motion, right? Like in the first film, you can tell they were underwater because they kind of levitated, they kind of floated or whatever. You saw their hair floating as well. But in this film, they're standing. There's people sitting down. If you weren't watching their hair floating, there was really no indication that they were underwater. And it looked pretty awful. I mean, what is this, Little Mermaid?
Remember my song in the swamp when I was like, whap, chicka, whap, whap, chicka, whap.
There were a bunch of times where you could just tell they were in front of the green screen. And obviously, yeah, they are. They're not actually underwater. But you would think in a $200 million film, they would be able to make it look a lot better. But just like with the rest of the big blockbuster Hollywood films this year, for whatever reason, the CGI looked like crap.
My dog stepped on a bee.
And then there's the writing. The fucking writing. Coming out of Aquaman 1, I was excited to see Momoa get away from the old, yeah, dude, alright mentality that was just so fucking gimmicky and childish in Batman vs. Superman. But for whatever reason, we went right back to that in Aqua Dude 2. It was so damn cringy. And I get it. That's Momoa's shtick, and he does have a certain charm to him. But it just gets so fucking old after a while. And Aqua Bro 2 isn't as bad as Thor Love and Thunder, where there's just a snappy one-liner every 30 seconds. But there's quite a few times, it's just hell yeah, brother moments. And it just got very, very tiresome by the end of the film. And that's not even the worst of it. I don't know what it is about Hollywood writers who are so stuck in their little left-leaning bubbles and have next to no social interactions outside of the 7 cats they have, but people don't talk like they do in this film, man. There's one particular character, and she's a part of Black Manta Squad, that just, I don't know what she was doing. Every time she opened her mouth, it was this inhuman, like no human being talks that way. I don't even know how to explain it. Like every time she was on screen in Aqualad 2, I couldn't stop laughing. So I'm like, there's nobody speaks that way. Like I said in my title portion, the plot of this film is nothing new either. Obviously, we've had a shit ton
My dog stepped on a bee.
of superhero films over the last decade, but Aquamate 2 feels way too familiar, and not in a superhero way.
What do you mean by that?
Let's just say this. Think Lord of the Rings. When you walk in to see this film, pull some of those characters out. Try to find out who resembles who in Aquabloke 2. It's actually it'll be a fun little game. Keep you awake.
I'm so sick of these people. Oh!
So, should you check out Aquafellow 2? I mean, it really depends on the camp that you fall into, right? If you're like myself, and you're walking in with, very tempered expectations, and you just want to see the DCEU get sent off into the sunset before we do this whole reboot thing, it's not the worst film in the catalog. I mean, it's it pisses me off, how good the first film was, and I really was. I was very supportive of the first film. I think James Wan did fantastic. I think the direction, the style, everything looked great. Like I really, that was $1 billion film. And then seeing what it is now, it's very disheartening. So if you are going to go and see it, just know, walking in, like I said, the direction's going to be very good. Some of the comedy is going to land for you, but it's going to be bland. This is a film we've seen time and time again, and it's pretty damn ugly. I don't know what they did with the CGI, but this just wasn't it. And then there's the other camp. If you're someone that doesn't really know anything about superheroes and just wants to go see a good film over the weekend, no, stay the fuck away. Like no. You're not gonna get any of this shit.
My dog stepped on a bee.
Anyway, I appreciate y'all for checking out my review. I'll talk to y'all later. Hey, whoa. Real quick, if you like what you heard, or maybe you didn't, or at the very least you think I have the best button downs on YouTube, do me a favor, throw a like up there. Maybe comment down below about how much I suck. I don't fucking care. And, if you feel extra special, sub if you'll listen to me talk some shit in the near future. Anyway, I appreciate y'all for stopping by, and I'll talk to you later.